This is the Washington Times front page for Thursday, February 9th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Former Twitter executives told lawmakers they made a mistake when they censored the Hunter Biden laptop story weeks before the 2020 presidential election. Joseph Clark reports Twitter's former chief legal officer, former deputy general counsel, and former head of trust and safety told the House Oversight and Accountability Committee that they regretted the platform's suppression of the New York Post story on October 14, 2020, about the laptop. The trio of witnesses brushed off accusations that they were directed to do so by the federal government. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and new Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries have embarked on their working relationship with a grudging respect that was missing when Nancy Pelosi was in charge of the chamber. Kerry Pickett reports the cordiality was on display when McCarthy and Jeffries were spotted exiting the Speaker's office this week, engaged in a friendly and businesslike discussion. Jeffries promised to extend our hand of partnership to the McCarthy-led House Republicans when he took over his post as minority leader, and vowed to find common ground whenever and wherever possible on behalf of the American people. McCarthy struck a similar note. He promised the Jeffries-led House Democrats that our debates will be passionate, but they will not be personal. That is my commitment to you. The White House drug czar is sounding the alarm over an emerging threat called Tranq, a veterinary medication being added to fentanyl and other illicit drugs that's causing skin ulcers, amputations, and deaths in opioid users. In a wide-ranging interview with our Tom Howe, Dr. Rahul Gupta said he's considering whether to formally label xylazine, also known as Tranq, as an emerging threat. The designation would spur awareness and the development of treatments. He also said Congress has an opportunity to stop stonewalling and permanently schedule fentanyl as a banned substance instead of allowing temporary authority to expire in December 2024. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of Washington Times podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. We'll wrap up with a pair of wrap-ups from the State of the Union. Pentagon correspondent Ben Wolfgang looks at the address from a foreign policy perspective. If President Biden plans to make foreign affairs a centerpiece of the second half of his term, he didn't show it during the State of the Union. He made no mention of Iran or its nuclear program, North Korea, the Islamic State, or other extremist groups beyond an early reference to U.S. efforts to combat terrorism. A speech so light on foreign affairs is even more surprising given Biden's dozen years as the top Democrat on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And finally, Republicans' taunts of the president during the State of the Union were the latest in what has become increasingly common heckling during the annual address. In one of the several back-and-forth exchanges, Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and others called out liar when Biden accused some Republicans of trying to cut entitlement benefits. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the heckling underscores the differences between the two parties. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.